Welcome to Capital Connection. A very good morning to our viewers from Europe. I'm Maithreyi Seetharaman. Greece is messing with the wrong folks. France and Germany tell Athens to suck it up, swallow the pill, and meet its obligations or not see another cent in aid. We're up about 0.6 of a percentage point. We're hovering around the highs of the session that we've had since the morning. Essentially, this is a market looking at banking stocks, pushing them a little bit higher, hoping that we are closer to some sort of a resolution in terms of getting all these EU leaders together and come up with one single solution, which is, of course, expected on Wednesday. This is Maithreyi in our studios as well. The question I wanted to bring up was of regulation, of course, and we've heard a lot of talk about Goldman Sachs. Or do you think it's the onus of companies to start innovating to make sure that they can create the jobs?
Well, I do believe that companies have an important responsibility to bear.
A racehorse is a pretty big investment. Annual stabling, training, and vet fees can total up to $39,000 here in the UK. So becoming part of a horse syndicate could just be the best way to get a piece of the action. Wall Street this year seems to be full of more tourists than the professionals who made this the most famous piece of financial real estate in the world. But again, it's not surprising considering that 76,000 investment jobs have been lost in the Americas in the last year. At that point, maybe your stake was not a majority stake. Now you are a majority stakeholder. Do they have any say whatsoever anymore because they're out completely? Or is this going to be a situation where you'll reduce the number of site holders in any way?
Look, we value our site holders in a huge way. We're connecting to the site holders on a continuous basis.
We're going to head straight out to Steve, of course, who's been following the entire G20 procedures for us. Steve, we heard from Mr. Juncker this morning, very strong language being used about the possibility of considering Greece to be pushed out of the euro. Is that now back on the table? The 31st of October, you had George Papandreou come out and say, hang on a minute, I need to take this back to my people. Jobs. Yep. You're going to lose some jobs in Germany. We're going to lose some jobs in Ryanair in Belfast. What kind of job losses are we going to look at overall in Ryanair? Are we going to get those back in other places, like you said, in Italy and other places?
We're going to create about another 1,200 jobs this year as we grow.
We prefer industrial metals like, for example, copper.
Evan, do you think that the Chinese are heading towards softening their monetary policy, considering the kind of numbers that we've got out?
Premier Wen has been quite clear in that inflation is still a key problem for the Chinese and for the Chinese people.
2 weeks after that interview, MF Global came out and reported a net loss of more than $191 million, 6.2 in terms of the exposure that it had to EU sovereign debt. Most of that debt was, of course, to the countries of Italy, Spain, Belgium, and Portugal, with $1.3 billion of exposure to just Portugal and to Ireland itself.
Maithreyi.
Hey, I'm drowning in a sea of traders, and if you want to know what's going on my right, you've got 500,000 shares of Freddie Mac being sold, and there's a huge queue up to check how low the price will go. Welcome to Bloomberg On Demand, the business of life. I'm Maithreyi Seetharaman. As the cost of healthcare continues to skyrocket, many Americans are paying more out of pocket for medical bills than ever before. You are sitting there as the CEO of BP with already a rather turbulent past with the Russians. How comfortable should we be in a deal with Rosneft?
Well, BP's been operating in Russia for more than 20 years.
Again, weakness in the chip business, potential write-downs of its NAND inventory levels. There's plenty of things to be concerned about, especially for investors and analysts. Welcome back. You're watching India Business Hour. Hello and welcome to Business at 8 at the CNBC TV 18 Mumbai News Center. I'm Maithreyi Seetharaman. You're watching Showtime India. In her films, she played a young blonde in tight-fitting shorts who would beat up men and run across moving trains. She was one of the most saleable stars of the Indian film industry in the 1930s.
Maithreyi, why don't you break down what you see in the company release for us?
Well, quickly, if I had to break this down, basically the company's come out, posted a first quarter revenue of about $2.19 billion. That's up about $424 million. Well, the price of oil is on the climb as supply disruptions in Libya continue to spook the market. You are looking at the futures flipping around, at least for the FTSE 100. The rest of the markets, the futures are down. We're just about 2 minutes to go before the markets open up. We'll be back with that market open in just a couple of minutes.